Hello, everyone, and welcome to Launching Your Broadcast Career. It's brought to you by Broadcast Pioneers of Philadelphia in association with Beasley Media Group in Philadelphia. It's our free educational series for college students who want a career in broadcasting. Coming up on the program today, we're going to not only tell you how people have made it in the business, but also how you may get your foot in the door. In other words, this program could change your life. I'm Leigh Richards from Broadcast Pioneers. I'm the moderator of tonight's show, and we have an amazing panel of award-winning broadcast professionals. That's you guys. In the next hour, you're going to learn all the many facets of radio and get practical advice to jumpstart your career. And of course, we're going to take a tour of the gorgeous new home of Beasley Media Group's Philadelphia stations. Welcome, everyone. Hi, panelists. Hi, guys. We're going to meet everyone. We're going to meet everyone individually in just a couple of minutes, but I want to take you right to a very special video. Our fearless leader, it's Vice President and Market Manager of Beasley's Philadelphia area stations. Here's Joe Bell.
The Beasley Philadelphia cluster, if you will, consists of 8 radio stations. We have 6 FMs, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with: WMMR, WMGK, 97.5 The Fanatic, BEN FM and 92.5 XTU, also WJBR, Mix 99.5 in Wilmington, and we have 2 AMs that have been serving the market for a long time, 860 WWDB and also WTMR in Camden. So 8 stations serving the market 24/7. You know, the Philadelphia radio market is one of the great markets in the country, always has been. If you go back in the history of Philadelphia radio, been some great legendary stations and a lot of tremendous personalities that have come out of the area. And luckily, a lot of those legendary names still work for us here at Beasley Media. In my mind, if it's not local radio, it's not radio. Radio was meant to be local. You have some things like Howard Stern that blow up and end up going national. But, you know, Howard Stern started out as a local radio personality. If you take a look at the personalities we have in Philadelphia, I mean, you start with Preston and Steve on WMMR, who are going into the Radio Hall of Fame. They have built their show on being local, being relevant, and being really funny. But if you take a look with things like Camp Out for Hunger, they are so ingrained into the community that you know, you say Preston and Steve, and everybody has instant images of different things they've done, not just what they do on the air, but what they do off the air as well. John DeBella on WMGK. You go right on down the list. Andy Summers with XTU. You know, all of our stations are very ingrained into the community. And in my opinion, if you're not local, you're not really doing radio. If you're going to have a great show, you have to have talent. But assuming you have talent, then there is so many other things that come into play. The thing I love about Preston and Steve and John DeBella and pretty much all of our talent is how hard they work. People would not believe this, but every day there is a phone call with everybody involved in the Preston and Steve show about what they're going to do the next day. And you know, I think people think they just walk in and magic happens. Guys, like I said, they have a ton of talent, but they work their butts off. And I think all successful people, regardless of what endeavor, put a lot of hard work into it. Things just don't happen on their own. So you've got that. Behind the scenes, there are so many people involved, not only with Preston and Steve, but in our entire radio station. We have people that write, people that produce, people that edit. We have people that work in promotions. I mean, there are a myriad of jobs that go into a radio station and to a successful show. Sports is such a unique animal. It's driven by passion. One of my pet peeves as a manager is I'm a huge sports fan. But if I hear one of our hosts not know something on the air that I do, it really bugs me because I expect our guys to be the experts. When people tune in, they want to know that the person behind the mic knows more than they do. And our guys do. They're driven by a passion. If you're going to do sports and radio, there's not a better market to do it in than Philadelphia. You know, it's a big 4-for-4 town, and our guys are really, really good at it. But it starts with passion. I think you have to love doing it. You have to live it, breathe it, sleep it. You have to be able to communicate. When people call in the show, they're not all going to agree with you. You have to be able to listen, respond in the proper manner, and to be able to have a conversation. We are fortunate tonight to have Bill Weston, the man about town. on the panel. I've done this for a long time. I don't believe I've ever worked with a more talented program director than Bill. The two stations he's in charge of, WMMR and WMGK, are number 1 and 2 in the market and have been consistently for quite a while. And I think what makes a great program director is working with people, the ability to get the best out of people. And Bill does that every day. He has a unique way of getting people to perform at a high level, but yet he's good at critiquing and developing. And our other program directors are great too. Chuck D'Amico programs 97.5 The Fanatic. Chuck has had his hand in every one of our radio stations at some point in his career, and I've often said there's nothing in this building that I would be afraid to let Chuck D'Amico do and know that he would do it at an extremely high level. Raz on the radio programs 92.5 XTU, and just saying Raz makes me smile. The guy loves XTU, he loves country, he loves our listeners, and he's a damn good program director. Kristen Herman is our program director on 95.7 Ben FM, which is just a great station, and it's almost the polar opposite of our other stations. A lot of music, not a lot of talk. Kristen does a great job. I love sales. There's a real creative side to sales that people may not think of. This is a creative business. Ideas sell. The other thing I love about our stations in Philly, when you advertise with us, if you have a good campaign, a good offer, a good schedule, you're going to get results. And it was really easy to do because I saw people get results every day with creativity, good copy, good schedules, good target marketing. If it's done right, sales it is a great thing to be in. I love it. I've done it my whole life. And I still consider myself at heart to be a disc jockey who can sell some ads.
So let's go right to our panel and see some of the really nice people have taken their time to join us today. Thank you guys for being here. Let me introduce our Vice President, Director of Sales, Paul Blake. Hello.
How are you, Leigh?
A local boy, by the way. He comes from, Delaware County, did you say?
Well, actually, I live in Delaware County for the last 25 years or so, but I grew up in Bucks County.
And you grew up listening to John DeBella in high school, and now here you are working for the same company. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, to grow up in high school and listen to the Morning Zoo and John DeBella on WMMR, and knowing how legendary he was back then, and now I get an opportunity to work side by side with him in terms of developing ideas and great campaigns for our clients. John's an amazing broadcaster and someone that I revered 30 years ago, and now really have the pleasure of working with every day.
And we're going to go to Kelly Wallace, who I just found out last night came into the company as an intern. Kelly, really?
No, not as an intern here. I came
No,
in
it was Greater Media.
with Greater Media, but I came in as a promotion assistant.
Oh, okay. Well, my information is wrong, but the fact is you're here. You came in an entry position, promotions assistant, and you are now Director of Digital and Account Development. So you see, again, patience, planning, perseverance. Thank you, Kelly. We're going to come back to you in just a little bit. John Kincade, this is my first time meeting you, almost in person. Hello.
Nice to meet you too.
And you are the morning show host of The Fanatic.
Yes.
So you're like a sports expert, right?
Yeah, well, I'm no expert. If you've listened to the show, I tell you, you don't listen to anything. We try to entertain in the morning. We try to debate. We try to entertain. We try to discuss, and it's a blast. It's an absolute blast.
I'm definitely going to have to get up a little early and check you out. Okay.
I want you to.
And we have Rhonda D Hibbler, WPEN, The Fanatics production director. Rhonda has a distinction in Philadelphia radio history. She is the first female radio production director in Philadelphia. Hello, Rhonda, and thank you for joining us.
Good evening.
And we're going to come back. I know you have plenty of stories once you get started. She seems quiet, but she's not. And Bill Weston, program director of WMMR and WMGK, and also with the corporate level, BBGI VP, Vice President of Talent Development. Thank you for joining us, Bill Weston.
So happy to be here. I'm messing with you.
Great, and a great distinction. He actually was in the Led Zeppelin, what was it? balloon, the Zeppelin, the Led Zeppelin.
No, Lee's asked me about like something interesting about, 40 years in broadcasting. I don't know. I said I went up in the Pink Floyd blimp. I don't know. Does that
Oh,
count?
that's what it was, the Pink Floyd blimp. See,
Oh my God.
I get mixed up. But it gives us a place to start. Okay, so we have all this ready for you. And I want to kick things off with a question to each of you. Basically, we touched a little bit on it. What made you decide to go into radio, into the direction you are now? Is this really where you wanted to be? What got you started? John Kincade, you can go first.
I went to Temple University out of Cardinal O'Hara High School in Delaware County. Wanted to study broadcasting. I wanted to be on TV. And right around the time I was getting out of college, WIP launched as an all sports station, the second one in the whole country. I started to work for a living for the Philadelphia Flyers, and then I interned with WIP Radio. I decided at that point I never wanted to do TV and I wanted to do radio. It was 4 hours or 3 hours of you, unlike 3 minutes or 4 minutes of you without opinion on TV. And radio just became the love.
I love it is for many of us. Let me introduce you to Chief Engineer here, Rodney Byrd. Rodney has a lot to tell us about his career. Being the chief engineer isn't just the nuts and the bolts and the microphones and all the machines. There's a lot more to it, and we will get into that. Rodney, how did you get started in your career?
I used to work for a large production company here in the local city, doing soundstage and lighting. Anybody from people like current president of the United States at the time, who I think was either Clinton or one of the Bushes, and then also doing things for anybody like Mariah Carey or society events, things like that, and did a lot of events for the greater media then stations and things like that. They pretty much at one point when they bought WMMR some 20 some years ago, had a position for an engineer open and said, hey, well, you're here so much, why don't you want a job? So 25 years later, here I am. I'm now the chief engineer.
And a lot of what you do, as I said, isn't just the nuts and the bolts. Tell us a little bit more about being a radio engineer. Like, what is the job really?
Well, the job has changed. It's not so much playing at the transmitter site anymore, being that kind of thing. Now that we answer to all sorts of media. When I started working here originally, we had 4 signals originating from this building. Now they're 21. So that's just a prime example of where our market has changed. Plus we stream on 3 of our 5 stations and various things like that.
Explain to us what are 21 signals? Now we know of the stations that we mentioned up front, but there's more than that meets the eye.
Yeah, well, if you take those, just the, let's take our 5 FMs alone. Each one of those has a main channel, main FM channel. Then each one of them has an HD channel, and then we have HD1 and HD2, and then we have streaming, which is live 365 days a year. Wow. So if you're not in the vicinity of our signal, you can hear it on the World Wide Web.
But not only that, when it comes to things that got these stations involved in the community, for instance, Camp Out for Hunger, Preston and Steve, this fabulous thing that they do every year. It's not just a radio broadcast, is it?
No, it's not. We basically,
tell us more.
Well, in that particular instance, for that particular week of that's coming up this year, we actually moved the radio station down to wherever we happen to be doing the event, which has for the past several years has been at outside of Xfinity Live at the Wells Fargo complex, and we basically moved the whole studio in operation down to the to a parking lot in South Philly where there's nothing. There's no tents, there's no power, there's no equipment. We have to bring it all in. We build it from scratch. Takes us a week to build it. Prior to that, then we do a week of broadcasting, and on Friday at 11 o'clock we break it down, and it's all packed back up in trucks and put and off to its next site, wherever that might be from our.
How many people does it take to create this city?
It depends. The Philadelphia area is very kind to this cause for Preston and Steve. A lot of these people I've worked with for years on various, stages in their careers and various, points of their company. And one thing you'll find about most people in this business, they don't forget. So, just because you don't know you're being kind to somebody, 20 years ago, they haven't forgotten the fact that you helped them out then. So a lot of these people lend their time or their companies or whatever it might be to this great cause that Preston and Steve started, 25 years ago, Camp Out for Hunger. And Bill Weston has kind of made if we're going to take the Preston and Steve show out on the road, he wants people to be able to have their show and see their show. It doesn't matter if we're in London or we're just out in the parking lot, you still get their show. So we kind of had to come up with a way to do that. And with the help of several in-kind partners and a lot of help from friends and volunteers and things like that, we put this week of broadcasting on from middle of South Philadelphia, and it seems to work. So,
and there's more. There's more than that. It's not just the Preston and Steve Camp Out for Hunger.
No.
All the radio stations in this group in Philadelphia have their special things. John DeBella has many different things that out on the road with the turkeys right before Thanksgiving and the veterans radiothon and all the many things that the WMGK group does. And you are all directly involved with your department as well.
We do our best to support everything that goes on or give everybody the ability to do the things that they want to the best of our ability. Some things we have to say no to, or we can't necessarily do that, but we do our best to try to do the best we can, with what we have. We're getting ready John and his group are getting ready to head off to Vegas for a few days. And, that's been a very interesting getting things restarted after COVID and things like that.
What a job.
Yeah, it's good to be able. The Eagles are in Vegas. It's a community. This is a community service effort. It's not for gambling and all the other stuff.
So you go in on a win, right?
Yeah, it's going to be.
All right, Kelly Wallace. So you're now in this position of digital sales manager and account development. What is it?
So, I started in radio and a long time ago. And I started in promotions and worked my way through several positions. And there became an opportunity in 2007 when we decided we needed a digital department. And Paul Blake came to me at the time. I was running a different department and asked if I might be interested in heading that up. And, it's one of those things where I didn't know what I was getting into. We didn't have a department. We had to create it and everything that came with it. And so it's evolved greatly over the last 14, 15 years. But, that's how I got into it. I didn't really know much about it. I didn't grow up. I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. I didn't have all the technology that we have today. So it was about, recognizing what you don't know and learning it and being open to it and being comfortable, being uncomfortable, because you're never going to have all the answers. So
right.
It was one of the great moments in my career, I think, to be asked to take on that endeavor and accept it.
And actually today, so many people are going into digital this and that. It's not just like one thing. It's multi-podcasting and the internet and what else?
So as Rodney mentioned, we stream all of our stations. We have websites for all of our stations, and we want to make sure from a digital standpoint that we have great content on those. We work with our clients to develop really custom digital programs that hit their marketing goals. So sometimes that's display advertising that you see on the internet. It's video production that you see on social media. So it includes everything from our owned and operated assets, like our websites and streaming and podcasts and things like that, to also including, social media advertising and video advertising on YouTube and other, outside sites that don't really have an affiliation with the station.
And these are things that didn't exist just a matter of 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah, but are vitally important to brands to be able to get their message out there to a very targeted audience. So we have a team here of videographers and ad operations people and strategists who sit down and decide based on, what we're trying to accomplish either at the station or with clients, what the best strategy is for that. And then we have to implement it.
So even under your wing, so the people who do the video, there's people who do graphics. There's how many different jobs just in the digital department?
Well, we have 11 people in the digital department, and we're growing. We'll be adding some for next year. And they all wear a variety of hats. So, we have mostly on the strategic side and the ad op side, but growing on our videographer side and also on the creative design side.
For the students who are watching, we are trying to give you a good overview of the types of jobs that are available today. And many of the things that you've learned along the way, even just fooling around on the internet, can actually become a job skill.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, how many people learned how to edit video and music just on their own home computers, where just a couple of years ago, those were courses in college.
Yeah.
And now you can actually learn yourself how to do it at home.
Mhm.
Bill Weston. Hello.
Pointing to that about people doing stuff on their own and getting up to speed. We just hired a part-time employee a couple weeks ago. She's 21 years old. Somebody pointed out the fact that she had a podcast on the air, and she had a series of podcasts and her own website that she built on WordPress. And she was a rocker. She interviewed Alice Cooper, which we thought was rather resourceful for somebody not in media or leading a big media entity. And we brought her in, we talked to her, and she's doing work in production now, in audio production, and looks to be like a rising star. So the idea of getting experience anywhere you can, whether it's at a college station, which she was involved in as well, I think is really a smart play. The fact that it's not just, radio, an announcer with headphones going, hey, here's the news. It's not that at all. Those are like the minority of jobs, the talent end. There's so much talent required in audio production and video production and digital production and social platforms. So much of our efforts are going into like creating content on the social channels, because it's an incredibly intimate way to communicate with your fans and the users of your product. And maybe they're a follower on social or on your website or whatever, or maybe they get an email from your database about a special deal or a special concert that's going on sale you can get tickets to, and then you steer them to these other avenues. But it takes people to create the content, whether it's graphics or videos or audio or on-demand stuff or live stuff. All these people that create that stuff are humans, and we need young people coming into the business. Broadcasting is kind of a weird name for this, careers in broadcasting. It sounds a little archaic, right? It's about media, right? Whether that's live audio or live video. We're going to start up the Preston Steve live video stream like next week. So there's a lot of stuff that we have to create to be able to attach Kelly's advertisements to. And actually, we have to be creative in how we get those messages targeted and produced so it doesn't look like a commercial and people ignore them. We want them to pay attention to them, go out and buy the stuff or the services or whatever. And clients say, we like that. And then they come back and they spend more money with the station and the properties, and we all get paychecks and we get to do stuff that we love. And that's my spiel, Leigh.
No, but actually you're right on target. And each department and each job that has been mentioned so far tonight, it's all synergistic. Everything works together. You're all moving parts of the total. And without each and every person involved, we would not have the fine products that we have to offer today to advertisers and listeners alike.
Yeah.
Rhonda D Hibbler, she's a production director, the Fanatic, WPEN. Rhonda D Hibbler, how did you get started?
Me personally, I fell in love with radio in high school, And unfortunately, when I went to college, my school, the FCC, had terminated their rights to broadcast. So we didn't have a radio station at the University of Pennsylvania. So I pursued a different career in healthcare, which I did for a few years until my dad took ill. And just like Rodney said, when you do good things and help people in this business, people kind of remember what you do. So from something that happened back in high school, the actual owner of the radio station at the time, WWDB-FM, which was the first FM talk station in the nation, Dolly Bank Shapiro hired me, and the rest, as they say, is history. I moved up from starting there to until I did like everything you could do at the station. And then I moved up to the morning show producer, to senior producer, to actually having a specialty in automation syndication as a specialist producer. And then after 14 years there, my position was actually eliminated. And I was going to go back into healthcare and actually make some money, because that's something that nobody has discussed yet. But on certain sides of the coin in this business, some people actually make the coin, and others, you have to have that love or that passion for your craft and really believe in what you do. So I ended up here. They called me to come to WPEN, which at the time was 950 WPEN, the station of the stars. It was a music station. I'm trying to figure out, why are you asking me to come to a music station when I am a talk show producer? And
But you
turns
came.
out, yeah, they knew, and here we are.
And how many years have you been at WPEN?
Since 1998.
Congratulations to you. We're going to come back. I want to talk a little bit more about production in a bit. We've highlighted just about everything so far, but we're going to try our second video. A guy who I really adore, hopefully. Here's Jackie Bam Bam.
Thanks, Leigh. Hey, good evening. It's me, Jackie Bam Bam, like you said, from 93.3 WMMR. Are you ready to take a tour in the nighttime? It's you and me. Let's go. Hey guys, and away we go. First stop on our tour, Sports Up. We're going to the Fanatic. The Bond's on the air in the nighttime here. Your home, your Philadelphia 76ers and your Philadelphia Flyers. Let's go. 1, 2, these are our editing room where we do our editing, our production for our morning show, our afternoon show for the Fanatic. And my man and yours, Devon, is keeping us all informed in the nighttime. There he is. This is our digital department. Come on! There's Paula Decker. Hi, Paula. Now, what you see on the air is where we're going next. We're going to the studios at 93.3 WMMR and 102.9 WMGK. Follow me, come on. You need these. Oh, look at all these beautiful frames. Thank you, Pierre Robert. It's 102.9 Classic Rock MGK. Come on in. My brother, man, Andre Gardner's on the air right now. Andre, Mr. Beetle.
Jackie Bam Bam, what's going on, dude?
There he is.
Right here in the flesh, if you can believe it, and a lot of it, too. Nobody's crazier than this bastard, though, I'll tell you right now.
He said crazy. He should just say the Beatles. That's Andre Gardner in the nighttime. Come on, guys. Playing anything we feel like. It's Ben FM. Down the hallway, we've arrived. Thank you, Pierre Robert, for giving us the key. Studio R. Vinyl. Pierre Robert's turntable. Here it is. Don't tell anybody we snuck in here. Shh. What does that say? Preston and Steve. In the Radio Hall of Fame, that's them. We wake up to them each and every morning. Come on in. It is like an aircraft in here. I'm sitting in Casey Boy's chair from the Preston and Steve show, the fearless one. Shh. Yeehaw! Giddy up, we're almost there. 92.5, Philadelphia's #1 country station, WXTU. I think Nicole's on the air. Yes, she is. There she is.
Hey, friend.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi. Welcome to country. Giddy up.
Bye, Nicole.
Yeah.
You followed me around the entire village. I need a break. I need M&Ms. I need a Kit Kat. I need a soda. Hey, guys, I'll talk to you on the radio. Bye-bye. It's showtime. Hi, it's me, Jackie Bam Bam at 93.3 WMMR, your full-time vampire. Good evening and welcome to the evening hours.
People don't wake up one morning and say, hey, I'm going into sales at a radio station. How did you get here?
Some actually do. Me, not so much. Actually, I was a marketing and speech communication major in college, and I wanted to create things. I did want to sell. It wasn't specifically for radio, but my start in advertising sales really started with a sports marketing company, and so I sold sports sponsorships for different college basketball leagues and so forth. Starting with some here in Philadelphia, namely the MAC conference, which was the previous conference for LaSalle University back in the day. And so, my goal in whatever we were putting together, whether it was back then or now, is really kind of tying the advertiser to the audience. And if you think about what we do here, you have Bill Weston, who's the program director for multiple radio stations, and John, who would report to someone like Bill, a program director. Their customer is the listener, and so their idea is to get their customer, the listener, to listen longer. With that comes ratings and so forth. Now, my customer is the advertiser, and so I'll call that they are the consumer for me, so to speak. But what I need to do is I need to connect them through our salespeople by developing really cool, customer effective advertising campaigns. I need to connect them to the listener. Because Nike or Burger King or McDonald's, they need to sell product. And the way they use it, the way to use us is they connect to the right audience to hopefully make their cash register ring. So we work very, very closely with the John Kincades of the world, our on-air hosts and DJs and so forth. We work really closely with the Bill Westons of the world to develop these really cool campaigns. And with that, we marry the programming of the radio station with the advertising tools to ultimately get the right result for the advertiser, which the right result is what are they trying to get the consumer to do or to believe, and to do is an activation campaign in our marketing world. That means maybe go into a retail location and purchase X, Y, or Z, or to believe is a branding campaign, and so, with that, we have many different ways to connect all these together. But you asked me about how did I get here? When I was in sports marketing, I really loved, building custom programs that would create some sort of activation for consumers with advertisers. And I did a lot of work with print, the Philadelphia Inquirer and Daily News at the time, with TV. Fox 29, 6 ABC, and NBC, and as well with radio, and some of the great radio stations here in Philadelphia, Power 99, KYW. These were ones I worked with back in the day before I was even involved in radio. And what I learned about radio versus those other forms of media is that we're very creative, very flexible. We can move very quickly. We can talk to an advertiser in the morning, and by noon, Rhonda can write and produce a commercial and have it on the air by the afternoon. Now, I defy any other form of media to do that. They can't. We can rewrite a script and hand it to John Kincade in minutes and say, listen, the Eagles just won, so change the copy for, Parks Casino, which John's a big fan of, as a matter of fact. And so now the betting line is changed for X, Y, or Z. So there's a lot we can do. And also, Leigh, I love the intrusiveness of radio and the point of purchase opportunities. What I mean by that is we are in people's face. you have to open up a magazine or a newspaper, or you even have to open up the internet to see different ads and digital ads and so forth. Not us. You're listening to your favorite entertainment, whether it be through our apps or online or through the radio, or maybe you're engaging with us at an event, whether it be a concert or maybe a sporting event. We are there. And so we are engaging with our listeners, and we might be doing sampling of product, or you might be hearing the commercial, or you might see a great video, maybe a viral video through our websites or through our social media campaigns. With that, we are intruding right in the consumer, path of their everyday normal life. Think about this: you're going to your favorite, convenience store. Maybe you're going into Wawa. All of a sudden, you hear a commercial for their new meatball sandwich that they have a promo for. Boom! Why did I just order a meatball sandwich? Because you just heard it on the radio, and maybe we sampled it at our event that you were at last week, and that was pretty darn good. I'm going to now try that meatball sandwich. So wrapping up the question, I got involved in radio because of all the great benefits and attributes that we can deliver for our advertisers. We do it in a very sophisticated yet simple fashion. And at the end of the day, we wrap it all up in a bow, and it gets great results for our clients.
Well, actually, I had read over 2 million weekly listeners to our various radio stations just in the Philadelphia group. So we reach a lot of people. And these events, you talk about these different events that we do from the stations. WXTU has their events. Sure. WMMR has their events. MGK, all the stations have their big events. How many people would you say come in person, sometimes even paying to get in to attend these events?
Sure. Sometimes it's hundreds, sometimes it's tens of thousands. It depends on what the event is. There are, station generated events, like a concert. We just did a great event with MMR just a couple of weeks ago called the MMRBQ. And we have nearly 20,000 raging fans there. And when we have advertisers there, we can do everything from couponing to sampling, which I was talking about before. We did a huge program down at Xfinity Live with the Fanatic, where we called it Fan Fest. It's the biggest tailgate party going, and we did it on a Saturday just about a month ago, what have you. And there we had all of our fans. Well, not all of them, because there's a heck of a lot more, but about 6,000 fans came and celebrated the radio station and the tailgate party. A whole lot of fun. We had lots of advertisers involved in that program. And what the advertiser does there is they provide an experience. So, whether it's climbing the rock wall with, a particular client, or FanDuel had a football toss, and you had an opportunity to, win cool prizes, or the opportunity to meet Brian Dawkins. So these type of events are specialized, they're customized, and they're specifically targeted to who our listener base is. And that's how, one of the ways that we entertain and engage with our audience. We help to make them raging fans of who we are. When you're meeting John Kincade, or when you're meeting Preston and Steve at the MMRBQ, or if you're going to the XTU anniversary show and shaking Andy Summers' hand, you're meeting the celebrity that you listen to on the radio every single day. And that is energizing for our listeners. At the same time, when you connect the advertiser with that type of program, you further create a fan, but you're also creating a consumer. And because our listeners trust who our advertisers are, because we don't just have John Kincade or any one of our on-air personalities doing a testimonial or endorsement for any run-of-the-mill product. They have to vet them out. They have to decide, this is who I want to be an endorser for. And they won't just put their stamp of approval on if they're not a good, qualified, bona fide advertiser.
He's a man who knows his topic. And the thing is, you're talking about all of the fans and all the listeners, and each one feels special as an individual when they get to shake someone's hand and speak personally to John Kincade and some of the other personalities at the radio station. And everybody makes them welcome, and each person feels special. And that's very important. With all that you're doing, they are your end result, So very cool. Very cool. We
Well, I
really
think
appreciate
if
that.
you were to ask John or Bill, when they crack the mic, or when Bill coaches his on-air personalities to crack the mic, they're talking to somebody, not everybody on the other side of the microphone. John can talk more about this, but he wants to create, that single individual fan he has in his mind. And I'll let John talk more about this, who he's speaking with and what is going to interest that person. John, there's a little segue for you, brother.
I like to create a multifaceted show. And one of the things that I was taught by, I had a legendary man in radio named Norm Schrut, who used to be the president of ABC Radio, who was my agent for many, many years. And Norm would tell me, outrun the bear, John, outrun the bear. Always remember that you're getting older and your audience is not getting older with you. So make sure that you know what the young people are doing, know what the newest trends are. Don't stay staid in the way you do things. The way I did things as a radio host 20 years ago are not the way I do them today. I constantly am pointing people to our app. I'm constantly pointing people to our YouTube broadcast, which you can either watch along in the morning with, or you can watch it at any time of the day. I like to create an atmosphere where people are constantly knowing that you don't want to leave this conversation. In 20 minutes, we're going to be talking about something that might be more of interest in you, but right now we're talking Eagles. You want to talk Sixers? We're going to be talking about it in a few minutes. Constantly changing, because I believe the minute people stop learning, and a lot of our viewers tonight are just thinking about this business and learning about this business. If you stop learning once you get a job, your career will stall. You need to constantly, as I always remember what Norm told me, outrun the bear. Be thinking about what are 20-somethings doing? What are 30-somethings doing? And understand it, grasp it, and then try to adapt your show to make it attractive to them.
Sounds like you know what you're doing.
I try to. I like getting paid. It's fun. That's the fun part of it, getting paid. But I want to say one thing.
Yeah.
It's so weird. You talked about the symmetry of it all. If Ms. Rhonda,
synergy.
If Miss Rhonda doesn't do her job to an excellent level, my customers and clients aren't happy because their ads stink and they don't sound good. And I have to work with Rhonda, and I got to be able to work with her in synergy. With Paul and his team, I have to be able to know, are these clients, hey, we have a client meeting. Be prepared for it. Study before you meet with a client, before you talk to them, go to their website, learn about the client you're doing. When we're getting ready we do a YouTube show every day. Rodney and his crew, make sure that thing looks perfect. I think we have the best YouTube broadcast you've ever seen of a radio show that anyone in the country has. I have to know that the digital sales department and Kelly and her crew are making the website look good and advertising look good. And if there's a video component, can I do something to help with it? It is a synergy amongst the station. And you know what? With Bill, and I don't work for Bill, but I can tell you is when you get a chance to pick people's brains like Bill or your own boss, make sure you have your listening ears on and never turn them off, because I do a radio show every day. I don't listen to my radio show. So never have your listening ears off, because we tend to talk a lot. We don't tend to listen well as an on-air host. And the more we can learn, the better.
Hey, John, you said you're doing this because you want to get paid, but you seem to love it. You love it. You need the money, but is it the kind of thing that if you had all the money in the world and would this be something you would want to do anyway, even if you didn't get paid?
It would. In fact, I got a good story quickly.
I'm not giving the management ideas, by the way.
I got a good story on that. When I first interned in the business, I interned at WIP, and Angelo Cataldi called me the $100,000 intern because I was a sales rep. And then I got into as a marketing director, and he would say, why are you coming as an intern in the morning to the show wearing those fancy suits? And I said, because I'm in sales and marketing. And he goes, how much do you make to pay for suits like that? And at the time I was making over $100,000 a year. And he goes, you're making six figures and you're working for free in the morning? And I said, yes, because someday I'd like to have your job.
Wow.
And that's how it all did, because you have to have the hustle gene. If you don't have the hustle gene, it doesn't work out. No one's going to just put stuff on a silver platter for you and give it to you. You got to knock down doors.
I think you're lighting some fires today for people. I want to tell the kids, the students who are watching, that a show like this takes a lot of planning. Remember I said in the beginning, I have 3 P's for a career, and that is planning, perseverance, and patience. Just for this show alone, I mean, I have a whole rundown. I have a whole clock that I had. The fact that the videos didn't play, I mean, have everything's timed out, queued out, just so you guys know. I mean, I have pages of stuff that I brought, but when you prepare for a show, if you use up 1% of what you brought in, so we did not know that we would have problems with the video. I'm debating whether to try again. And Lora Lewis, longtime coworker and friend, has been helping me with the program tonight. So we're sitting here doing sign language, whether we should try again to show these videos. So I don't know. We're waiting. I'm going to let her make that call. Let's see. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Good question. John, hold that up. John, how do you make connections in Philly, and how does it help you at the Fanatic? Great.
How do I make connections?
Yeah.
I make connections because I never stop talking. I constantly meet people. I love to meet people. I love to network. And something too, I didn't work on air as a full-time radio host till I was 33. I was a director of sales. I was a salesman. I was a 5-year full commission salesperson. And I was also a venture capitalist. So I did a lot of different jobs before I finally took my part-time radio career and made it my full-time radio career. And I consider radio a sales job. I think it's a sales job. I think you constantly are working on the packaging of your show, your presentation to your audience. There's a lot of work, as you're saying, behind the scenes. But how do you network? You get out there and you get connected to stuff. A lot of people know Marissa from Preston and Steve. I'm out Sunday doing a networking event, and I run into Marissa doing a networking event down at Live Casino. She works Monday through Friday early in the mornings, and she's there like I am at 4:30 in the morning, crazy town. But on Sunday afternoon, the hustle gene's kicking in, and she's promoting WMMR out at Live Casino, meeting people, shaking hands, kissing babies, taking selfies. That's what you got to do. It's not a job that you're on the air 3 hours a day or 4 hours a day, and that's your job. It's a sales job. You have to meet the people. You got to be a politician. You got to get out there.
Thank you. There is a question area on the YouTube channel, which everybody's watching who's not on the panel. And all you have to do, if you have a question for the folks on the panel tonight, just type it and we will give them a chance to answer it as time permits. Address your question to Bill Weston, Paul Blake, John Kincade, Kelly Wallace, Rodney Byrd, Rhonda D Hibbler. In fact, here's one for Rodney from Ben. Thank you. How do you get engineering experience? How do you break into engineering? Rodney.
Well, a lot of people go to trade schools or various radio schools and things like that around the area. And there's nothing wrong with those type of schools, but a lot of the curriculums and stuff like that, they're taught a certain way. But then there's, I always say that we deal in reality here at the station. It's like we can have stuff written down in the book and this is the way you do it. But at the end of the day, we have to do what needs to work to get it done. And, safely, budgetary reasons and things like that. And as well as, ultimately it needs to sound and look good because we only get one shot at it because we're live. We can't fix it necessarily in post for, our shows and stuff that are on the air. Yes. On, things that we do for videos and stuff like that. Yeah, we can, go and mix that up. So, I would say your best bet to get experience is to get out here and start volunteering and looking at, things and how people do it. Just because we do it one way doesn't mean our way may be the best way, but it works for us. Doesn't necessarily say that, you have to do it this way or whatever, but, always be, take your knowledge and try to apply it. Ask questions. Most of my people started off in promotions and things like that, or doing other jobs. And now, they're, pretty much running the show. There's a story here of my leading ladies. They all worked at other places, came in as promotion people or whatever like that out of college, and wound up running the engineering department of this facility for many years until they moved on to other things. So it's a you get out of it what you put into it. So just challenge yourself. Don't be afraid to take a step, and you make a mistake. Okay, you made a mistake. We move on and learn from it.
Right. It's a good answer. From Kat, who's a Temple alum, she said, I live in an area without a lot of stations. How do I get back into radio? Thank you, Kat, for your question. How could she get back into radio? She didn't say how old she was or what her experience was. Was she in radio before? So how you get back in is like, how did you get in the first place? And that's a good question to ask our panel, recommendations on how to do that. If you're a student or if you're 28 or like John Kincade, 33, you're 33 now, right, John?
Oh, no. Yeah. I'm 33. It's just this premature gray. It's killing me.
If a person has never worked in a specific area, a specific industry, they have to start somewhere. They have to learn from sometimes the bottom up. Radio is no exception. And if you're coming in, like I didn't start till I was 28 years old and I had 2 babies at home. Let me tell you, that was not easy. It was not easy. Trust me. Determination, perseverance.
Leigh, just exactly going along your 3 Ps: planning, perseverance, and patience. Really, I mean, that's the advice that you could, what was the person's name who asked the question?
Kat, who does not live in the area. She heard it on the internet.
Sure, gotcha. So for Kat, first of all, help us understand a little bit better as to what you've done in the past. Do some planning. In other words, if it's in sales, then look me up on LinkedIn. Find out what I've done, who I'm involved with, how I'm connected. Maybe you went to the same college as me or what have you. But so do some planning before you reach out to me. And reach out to me, through email or through LinkedIn or there's many ways to catch me if you can. So do the planning first. And then have perseverance. Let me know what you've done, how you've done it, and how you can be an asset, to the company. And then lastly, have patience. But with that, it's got to be gentle persistence with that patience. You have to remind me who you are, what you did, and how you can help us out. In sales, if we make, one connection to a client, we're not going to get any kind of sales. It literally takes a minimum of 10 touch points in some capacity, whether it be email, phone call, social media, or what have you, for us to even get a response. So if I can go along the lines of, kind of what you've been saying, a lot of what John Kincade was saying as well, have that perseverance, don't stop, be an asset. What's in it for the other person? Not about what's in it for you, but what's in it for the person that you're trying to connect with. Here's one. John, it's funny because John spoke about 2 different things. First of all, he talked a lot about listening, and then he talked about networking and talking a lot. But you know what? It always comes down to having 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen twice as much as you talk. And so when John even talks about networking, when he's making connections out there and networking, I can assure you, he's listening to people much more than he's talking, because for him to make great connections and engage with people, he needs to know what's important to them. And that's ultimately, for the audience that's listening right here now. You want to get into this business, connect with us in some capacity, listen closely, plan as to who you want to connect with, and find a way to do it, and continue to tap us on the shoulder. Because look, it's not that we don't care, it's just that we're busy. And also, to that point, we need to know your level of interest. Are you really serious about this?
So they have to be serious. They have to be serious and then make a commitment that they're going to do it and follow through. And remember, in this business, those people on the air especially will be able to tell you about all the blizzards that they had to sleep at the radio station, all the birthdays they had to work, the holidays, the whole thing. It's not just a 9-to-5 job. This is a commitment with your heart and your soul.
And that's also, Leigh, you should work in a little bit of flexibility that, you may want to have designs about being an on-air talent, but you're gonna have to start in event management and being part of the ground crew. Are you willing to drive the van and set up 10x10s and staff Saturday events and then let people get to know you about what your personality is? Or maybe you're technically inclined and you're hanging with the engineer on site and you're seeing how stuff is hooked up or whatever. So there might be different ways to get into the industry that aren't your primary level of interest, right?
But they want to know how. They do want to know how to do that.
Find out where the needs are of the radio station and be willing to be flexible on on how to get in that and understand your strengths. Like John didn't get on the air till he was 33. Well, I got on the air right out of college and realized after about 8 years, I wasn't that great on the air. So I decided to go into programming and in management.
And wound up to be an award-winning program director.
See?
See?
So
All different paths.
All right.
Yeah,
So we are taking questions on YouTube. For the people viewing, please feel free to share your question right away. We only have a limited time left. This program is 1 hour. This comes from KD. I have a secondary school diploma. Is there any radio job for me? Do I need a college degree or some kind of commercial degree?
No.
Okay. Well, I guess you're the best
No.
one. No. Okay. So the people are looking for answers and experience, and the more we can tell them now, the nitty gritty, how to get your foot in the door. That's been asked a lot. Do you need a college degree? However, the emphasis has been, in recent years in going to school and learning things, and you also learn critical thinking and other things that will help you. But Bill Weston
The experience I gained at Temple on the school radio station, the experience I gained
I was on there
by interning at Channel 3, WIP, and other places while I was a college student, I honestly believe that paid off as much as my Temple degree.
Well, that's the
I
next
think
question.
Temple opened doors. I think the side hustle is what got me in front of people. And I think that's what you need to do. And as Bill says, and as Paul says, when you're making an impression, don't send an email and say, what does it take to be a sports talk radio host? And just send an email to somebody. Do your research, understand, be specific. And honestly, the more you stand out in your approach to get someone's attention is the more likely you're going to get their attention to be able to try to help you along the path.
That's a great idea. A lot of the people are asking about internships. It's been difficult because of the pandemic to have interns. I don't even know if our stations have brought on any new interns in the past year. Hopefully they will be in the future. But a lot of college students do need that internship in order to graduate. And it would be really nice if they could have the internship in their field, one that will help them. What advice, and I want to hear from everybody, can you give the people looking for internships and other ways to volunteer and get their foot in the door and get the experience they need? Bill, let's start with you.
For internships, they're really important. We want people that are self-starters, that aren't wallflowers. So I think having an understanding, like you need to take steps forward and not just say, well, I'm going to sit back and let somebody teach me, right? What can I do? What doors cracked open that I can stick my foot in to ask questions about different portions? I'm hoping that internships will come back soon and our COVID protocols will allow that, because it is a terrific way to do it. But you've got, 50 people wanting an internship at the radio station, which 10 are going to stand out? People that have a communication skills to be able to converse and to be forward. Also having technical skills, then how do you prove that to us? Maybe in your package or in your presentation or in your resume, you can give us examples of things that you've done, whether it's a goofy song or a fake spot, or, maybe it's examples of graphics that you've created in some type of computer program or whatever. But we're looking for people that sell themselves, that are confident, that want to learn more. And you'd be surprised how many employees currently. Marissa Magnana, superstar producer. She started as an intern. Sarah Parker, she's full-time digital on-air producer, music director, whatever. Awesome. Examples go over all departments about people that did start here as internships. It's a great way to learn what people have, that je ne sais quoi, that you say, I'm going to hire you as a part-timer and maybe develop into a full-time superstar, So
in other words, you just sending
stand out.
Just
stand
sending
out,
a
right,
letter
Bill?
doesn't necessarily make you stand out unless the
Sell
letter
yourself.
just
How
so
about
awesome.
how about what I'll say to people is send a FedEx envelope instead of mailing somebody something, or forget about email. Get off your phones.
Yep.
Stop sending emails to people because they get lost. How about sending someone a handwritten letter with your resume? How about
I've done that.
sending somebody a FedEx envelope with your resume and a handwritten note showing why it would mean so much to you? Because if someone gets a FedEx envelope, we all open it. We all think we're getting something. It doesn't get lost. That doesn't get lost. It might cost you a few bucks. It might cost you $3.95, but it's going to get noticed a hell of a lot more than the stack of envelopes that are on Bill Weston's desk or all the 100 resumes that he gets by email.
Amazing.
You're going to stand out. Find some creative way to do it.
I wish all the students and all the people who want to find jobs in this industry all the best of luck. We have 2 minutes left, and I'm going to give each of you a chance to give your final thoughts and your final words. I would say in like 10, 15 seconds. Paul Blake.
Well, two things I would say. First of all, be coachable. Regardless of who it is, whoever can give you some guidance and wisdom and so forth, allow for the ability to be coachable. Another thing is you are all in sales. John said it earlier, and I say it all the time. You need to find a way to market yourself. You need to have a unique selling proposition about what sets you apart from the next candidate or what have you. So you're in sales. It doesn't matter, whether you're selling yourself to a listener or you're selling yourself to an advertiser or our radio stations or selling yourself to a potential employer. You are in sales. Be coachable and realize that you have to go after what it is that you want, but you have to be different and you need to market that.
Kelly Wallace, give us a few seconds of your wisdom and what you would be looking for in hiring a newcomer or getting somebody in, maybe as a volunteer. Do you ever do that?
We don't do volunteers, but I will pile on to what Paul said. He talks about being coachable. And one of the things that I like to convey is seeking constructive feedback from people that you work for or your professors if you're in school. If we just rely on people to break out of their comfort zone and tell us what we're not doing great and where we could be better, you may not get it. But if you ask people and give them permission to coach you and to tell you how you can be better, it could open doors infinitely for you. I would say take advantage of every opportunity you have to meet somebody. And if you do take an internship at the company, our company or any media company, shake hands with every person in that company and don't stay in your little world of the department that hired you. You literally have the keys to the kingdom with an internship. Take advantage of every moment.
Thank you very much. Rodney Byrd, 10 seconds.
10 seconds. Well,
Tips.
there you go. See you bye. I would just, as you're developing and looking to get into this field, however you need to do it, you have to be well-rounded these days and not just like, hey, I want to be on the air. It's just like trying to be an NBA player. You're out of high school, I'm going to get picked up by the NBA. Well, 1% of you are going to get picked up by the NBA. It's sort of that same thing in radio, but the people who make it, and move along in this business, and some are excellent. I mean, Marissa, I got her into her internship here, not because she got passed over, not because she wasn't any good, because we were full. And I said, somebody said, hey, do you know? Okay. And I, went and talked to some people and she was able to get in here and she has excelled ever since she's been here. So with that, you get out of it what you put into it and, be positive. Yes, I pick up trash. I pick up paper off the floor. So can you. I'm not too good to do that. So
thank you. In 10 seconds, one tip for the students, Rhonda D Hibbler.
Do your research, go on the internet and see what jobs are out there and see what works for you. Beasley Media, we own like 64 radio stations. So be open to travel and don't limit yourself.
Oh, that's excellent. Thank you so much. And Bill Weston, finally, 10 seconds, the best tip you can give to the students.
Be confident even in what you don't know, just like be forward and know your stuff in digital and in social and as much technical in audio programs and expertise that you can come in. Those are the basic building blocks. It's about relationships. It's about content. And if you show passion with it, you'll get noticed and you hopefully get that first shot.
Thank you. Thank you to all of our panelists. You were wonderful, and hopefully you have inspired everybody. And thanks for listening. We're going to wrap it up now. And this will be on the Broadcast Pioneers YouTube channel very soon. And we hope that you will stop by and tell your friends to check out the video. We're going to try to run the videos now as we fade out of the show. Again, thanks everybody for being here tonight.
Come on.
Thank you.